Welcome to Podcast Land. I'm back.
Welcome back to Obi to the studio.
For a while anyway, right?
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Let's see. Other things. In the podcast today, we talk about there's probably a president. COVID comes up a few times, okay? We talk about those upcoming consoles, Alex Trebek, what we're all going to owe to llamas.
Yes.
Jurassic Park 16,000.
They finished the filming on the latest, and they've got details on how that went.
Dirt 5, Thanksgiving break, and an easy way for me to maybe make money, but everybody had to make it seem scary.
I just want to make sure that you know, coming out of that topic, that conversation, I vote for don't do it.
All right.
I just want to let you know that that's where my vote goes, if it has any, if it helps at all.
Everybody is like, oh, whatever, and here I am just trying to make a little extra money. It doesn't have to be a lot.
Holiday cash, it's fine.
It's a little something. So, well, you guys enjoy the podcast. Thank you so much for all the kind words and welcome backs and prayers and all that stuff. We really appreciate it.
Make sure you text and say hello, too. If you've never texted, your podcast listener, put your name and that you do listen to our podcast. So even if we're not in the studio, they'll just save it for us next time we're in. So you just text 877 to RadioU and we'll get that.
And thank you. I think it's in the show, but in case it's not, whoever you are that bought us the coffee and the snacks,
Pop-Tarts and the Nutter Butter stuff. They sent us a Walmart delivery on Friday, and it was so sweet to drop us off that. So we really appreciate it.
Yes, much appreciated. So you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you in seconds.
Bye.
This is RadioU's Worst of the Riot.
We don't know who. Like, no idea, but there was a Walmart delivery Friday afternoon that is killer.
At first, I thought, well, maybe someone accidentally put the wrong address and it got delivered. But we're in a business, so it's not like...
Right.
I think it was a listener who sent the stuff, and then plus once you actually see what's in there, you know it's obviously for everybody.
There's 5 bags of pumpkin spice coffee.
Which is your new favorite coffee that you're going to have forever now.
Well, that's fine. You know what? We're going to be brewing that for the next couple of weeks in the morning for sure. And Nikki, there's coffee for you now.
Oh, thank you. And they included some s'mores Pop-Tarts, which Obi loves s'mores, and these Nutter Butters.
And I just want you to know, we ain't taste tested. This is
You're just going to eat those.
We're just breaking these guys open. Little Nutter Butter.
Well, whoever it was, it did not include a name. We looked. But thank you so much for sending some stuff for a little care package for Obi.
I have never had, for us, Nikki.
Well, yes. I think it was more of a welcome back thing. What are they called? It looks like a wafer square thing. It looks like it's a big chocolate bar, but they're Nutter Butters.
Yeah, you've had those, the little wafers where it's chocolate and vanilla or whatever. That, but peanut butter?
Dip that in your coffee and that'll be good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah? All right. Is it very Nutter Buttery or?
I don't know that I would associate that with quote unquote Nutter Butter, but it's good.
It's good.
And I'll tell you right now, between that and this coffee right here,
you're set.
Welcome back, y'all.
Yeah!
You were one of the lucky few who missed the riot when they were live. Yet here you are.
I also like to live dangerously.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
The other thing that's coming that Nikki didn't mention is that there's going to be the RadioU Hyperloop tube that we're working on. I saw over the weekend. It's something we're teaming up with Virgin for. You'll get in there and have a real RadioU experience. Nikki and I will greet you.
Where are we hyperlooping to?
Well, no, over the weekend, Virgin actually had their first test shot of a Hyperloop. If you guys aren't familiar with a Hyperloop, the idea is it's a vacuum tube that's going to be under the earth, and it uses gravity to take you way down and then way back up with very little friction, though. Mm-hmm. And so the idea is it would be a very, very efficient way to travel and very fast.
Just a little nervous about that one. Not going to lie. I don't want to go down too low. So, no, thank you.
I think it sounds like a fantastic idea. I also feel like it's one of those things where, if accidentally an ant climbs onto the tube track, you're dead.
I hope it should be tested past that point.
So, well, they ran a test this weekend, 500 meters, and it was successful. So the co-founder, Josh Giegel, who he's the company co-founder, and then head of passenger experience, Sarah Lucian, They were the two to take the test drive, and they came out on the other side. We think it's still them.
We know that they've talked about this, especially in like high traffic areas where the best way to travel might be to go down more.
Right. Great idea.
Don't know. Just don't know.
You have to get a little concerned about what they might wake up that's been sleeping down there.
Yeah, depending on how far do they have to drill down? It's nervous about it. That's all it is.
Well, they ran their test this weekend, and it seems to be successful. So,
listening to the worst of the riot is the equivalent of standing in line at the BMV. Ugh. Worst of the riot. Radio U.
So, Nikki, did we elect somebody president?
I don't know. I believe so, but then it depends on who you ask and where you ask. So I believe they're saying that there's a projected winner is how they're phrasing it.
Man, I just can't get a straight answer on that one.
It really just depends. So, but again, they're using the projected winner.
It's really something. So what it comes down to is Joe Biden.
There you go.
Okay, Senator Biden, he is projected as the winner by a lot of media outlets. People have started referring to him as President-elect Joe Biden. I believe he even gave a speech,
mm-hmm.
That he had won and everything. But there are a lot of conservatives that are saying, no, the media doesn't get to make the call. It comes down to the actual election results, and they're going to be different. And it's like, well, in the meantime, here we are.
You said this last week. It doesn't really bother us if it takes a little bit of time.
It's okay.
No one, I don't think a lot of people really mind. So I don't think it's fine. Let's count. Let's figure it out. Let's everybody be comfortable and confident in a final result then.
I mean, I'm just kind of figuring that they'll figure it out. That sounds real.
Just sit back
mature.
and just wait.
I mean, I can't have any influence. And
well, you already did your thing. So
the only thing I could do to affect the outcome of the presidential election was to vote,
mm-hmm.
which I did. Everything past that is me on an exercise bike. I'm working really hard. I'm going nowhere.
Now, what if they say, hey, a lot of people are like, let's just go back and vote again. Let's just do that one more time.
I saw where they were calling for a revote in some state, and I was just like, oh, I think that's a really bad idea.
You don't want to revote there?
I don't. Like a do-over? No. Like at some point, you do have to just be like, okay, all right, that's it. Now, I'm not saying when that is, because heaven forbid I have an opinion. It's just at some point.
Hey, you don't come back in here with an opinion, okay? I don't know what you thought or what you did when you were at home.
At some point, I don't know when it is, but at some point we're just going to have to be like, well, that's it.
I'm sure.
Because, I mean, I do feel like we could keep counting forever. And, if the other thing I'm a little concerned about is I do feel like we keep finding new things to count. Now, I don't have anything to base that on.
But you just feel that way? Is that it?
Yeah.
Now,
yep.
Zach, I appreciate his text because it's true for a lot of people. I don't care how they get to it. I just want to come out so my guy wins.
Yeah,
now, it doesn't matter if, whoever Zach was voting for, but it just doesn't. It just depends on, at the end, which one wins.
Well, I think a lot of people feel exactly like he does. I don't care what you got to do. Just get my guy back in there or in there.
If you have to count
whatever.
a few times, then I think that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to leave it at that.
The Riot really wanted to do this live, but now they can play video games and eat rice cakes instead. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Nikki, guess what?
What?
The Xbox Series X comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, is everybody ready?
No.
Well, I mean, I meant more like the listeners.
Oh, you didn't mean me.
It was more like, is everybody ready? To not get yours? Yay! Did anybody get a successful pre-order, or are they going to get it?
You know what? That's a good question. Text us at 877-2-RADIO-U. Did you manage to pre-order the Xbox or the PlayStation?
You'll be able to go online and buy it at different retailers tomorrow, but we've already talked about how this and the PlayStation won't have in-store sales.
So I just forget it. Like, there's no...
There's nothing. Why bother?
I have been thinking about a PlayStation 5 because there were a bunch of PS4 games I wanted to play. And I've thought about maybe trying to get one on Thursday.
Yeah.
But man, why even set myself up for that disappointment?
But if you don't try...
Yes. But the
if
thing
you
is,
don't try to beat a bot, then how will we ever beat the bots?
I feel like me not trying will have the same outcome as me trying. The only difference will be the level of disappointment.
Well, that's not the Obi that I know.
Am I too real? A little too honest?
The Obi I know would be up and ready and trying to get that.
Well, you know what? Pre-COVID me maybe had a little hope left in him, but now,
You can tell the COVID person, you're like, just a lack of hope on buying anything. Is that anybody else?
Is that a symptom?
Does anybody else have this symptom?
Do you guys have a symptom? Is
that a lingering symptom?
Lack of online buying confidence?
Gosh.
Is that a thing?
Well, you have to just see if, I know you go back and forth if you even want one. I mean, your PlayStation games will still play on your PlayStation.
Right. So the PS4 games play on the PS5. And I never played Ghosts of Tsushima. I never played Last of Us 2. Days Gone, and a few others, but I don't know. We could just wait that out too.
You could.
I don't know.
But it's fun to have it, or like when it first comes out. But
it is fun. You're right. You want to be a part of it. Catherine says, "Come on, Obi. What about your golf game?"
That plays on your other
Thank
stuff
you.
already,
no,
doesn't it?
It doesn't.
It doesn't?
Everybody,
there's a new one?
She's right. I haven't. That has been something I've been like, I sure want everybody's golf back. I sure want it back.
So the Xbox is tomorrow, and then the PlayStation's on Thursday.
I think if you set a PS5 in front of me right now and I could actually buy it, I think I would probably buy it. If you told me that if I sat around and clicked refresh 100 times for hours on end on Thursday, I could have one, that's where I get a little more...
Yeah. Not sure. So Sam said somehow I got lucky and managed to get a PS5 pre-order. Hope it actually shows up on release day. Fingers crossed.
Hey, Sam, what about a friend of yours who's, had COVID and has just come back?
You mean he should just sell it to you?
Yeah.
Well, Sam can have it too.
All right, whatever.
Why doesn't Sam get it?
Sam can have it. It's fine.
Okay. With a good attitude, because it's his.
It's fine.
It's fine. All
Keep
right.
it.
Yes, he wasn't going to give it away anyways.
I know.
Maybe the Riot would sound better if they spent less time improving their lives at their gym. That was sarcasm. It's the Riot on RadioU.
Sarah texted and wants to know if I ended up with COVID toes.
Yeah, Sarah's not the only one who has texted in the entire time you've been in quarantine, because was it right before you had to go? That was a study, or people said if you had these rashes on your toes, that it was a COVID thing.
I talked to some other people that had COVID that had rashes that lasted a day or two. Mm-hmm. Theirs were on, the one person I talked to was the top of their hands. Somebody else I talked to said it was just on their arm. But I have not yet encountered anyone who had COVID toes. I do not have COVID toes.
Everybody really wanted to know.
I know. I know it's a big disappointment. A lot of people were pulling for me to get COVID toes.
I don't know if you guys know, but your tone coming off all your text messages actually made it seem like you wanted him to have COVID toes, and you were disappointed when you found out he did not.
You know what? For me, COVID has been, I have had essentially every symptom but COVID toes. Not all at once. They have come in waves. Like, I was very sick of my stomach for days. And then one thing I had forever was a fever. Like, the fever was just relentless. And it was never crazy high. They never got over 101, which is not to say that it's still not a pretty decent fever. But there was that and the headaches. Like, I would go, headaches and nausea just... And those were, it was fun because, they would come at night. So
when you're trying to rest.
So, around 5 o'clock
Sleeping
at night, almost every night, the headache would start. And then I would be like, I have to lay down right now. And so you would just lay in a room alone in the dark, just laying there.
Yeah.
For hours, 12 hours sometimes. And that's what you did. And it was great.
I don't think I believe you.
It was great.
We're just glad all that stuff. So most of your fever, too, because from the other side looking at you, it's like, man, normally your fever would break or, it'd be, you'd start to feel better after a few days, but this was not the case with that.
No, it just went on and on. But now I'm just to the point, I had a headache last night.
Yeah.
It was not, it will like put itself off all the way till 8 or 9 o'clock. No fever, a little bit, lungs still feel a little funny, kind of tired. But, like I can live. I was alive before.
No COVID toes, too.
No COVID toes.
And he can taste.
Yeah.
Everybody always asks about that, too.
Yeah. I will say my sense of taste is not all the way there, but it did not completely disappear. One of my roommates has COVID, and they can't taste anything. Which, to me, I keep being like, are you sure you can't taste anything?
It's like, is this real?
Like, come on.
Check the toes.
Show me your toes.
Like, let's just see what's going on.
Don't make it weird. Just put your foot on the table. Let's see the toes now.
Everybody's asking.
we need to know. Well, it's okay.
Using advanced technology, we've digitized and transcoded Obadiah and Nikki into a purely digital format. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
From what I'm seeing here, there is a new powerful tool that scientists are studying in the war on COVID, Nikki.
Being?
Llama dubstep.
Well, can the llama save everybody?
Okay. Maybe not so much on the dubstep part, but the llama part for sure. They say apparently that llamas create very strong antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 disease, or I guess that's like the virus that leads to you getting COVID.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, whatever. But I know this. Llamas, Nikki. The future's in llamas.
Well, what's it from the llamas, does it say?
Well, they say that llama antibodies, which they call nanobodies, but I want to call them llama bodies. But they didn't ask me. They say they're much smaller than human antibodies, and as a result, they are far more effective at neutralizing the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And so I think this is kind of cool. Yishi, Dr. Yishi, assistant professor of cell biology at Pittsburgh School of Medicine, says nature is our best inventor. The technology we developed surveys SARS-CoV-2 neutralizing nanobodies at an unprecedented scale.
Interesting.
So they are working on, and you know what, there's all kinds of chit-chat about, what's the word I want, the vaccine, et cetera, et cetera. But in this research, they're finding that these nanobodies, as created by llamas.
Llamas, wow.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Party animals, nanobody creators.
Oh, you come out and you're like, you get your vaccine and like suddenly your hair grows crazy. You're softer than ever before, but you spit. I mean, is this llama stuff?
It has cured male pattern baldness. It has cured COVID-19.
It's a miracle worker.
It does result in random spitting.
Yeah.
Would you take it?
I think everybody would.
Would you take it?
And
you just carry a little something around your neck and you spit if you have to.
And then, the question is, are the llamas okay? Or like, does the llama have to take one for the team?
I know that this will not win me any fans.
Any points?
But if my quality of life requires a couple of llamas to make an album, then so be it.
Oh, my. Never mind. All right. Yeah. So that is interesting. You look to llamas, perhaps, for the COVID answer.
Who the heck came up with that idea?
I think they're trying anything and everything at this point. They're like, next animal, bring it in.
I totally get it. But you're just in the meeting and they're like, well, Bob, what about llamas?
Well, if they're saying that against SARS and other, within the COVID world, perhaps it's been known in the past to be helpful since SARS and that has been around for a bit.
Hey, I'll tell you this. True story. A couple miles from my house, llama farm.
There is a llama farm?
Oh, yeah.
Aww.
It's weird.
I see everybody going over and start like licking them. You're like, that is not going to help you.
we would give the Riot flowers to show our appreciation. But Obadiah's probably allergic. What isn't he allergic to? This is The Riot on RadioU.
I will tell you, getting ready to come back into the studio today, I was trying to, get some stuff ready to talk about on The Riot, and there were three things we could talk about. The presidential election.
That's one.
COVID numbers.
Two.
The death of Alex Trebek.
Oh, wasn't that the saddest? Oh,
Yeah.
That was terrible.
That's a bummer. He had been... Well, he's just been in the news for the last year or so as he's been fighting cancer.
Especially during, I think around the summertime, he came out with his memoir, like his book or something. And
he did.
He was so positive with his cancer diagnosis and going through all that, people really kind of latched on to his journey with it and still wanting to host. And then COVID came along and he wanted to be the first show back to figure out a way to protect, him obviously with his health, but still having a show going on. And I felt like we all felt he had been doing better.
That's what I thought.
It was very surprising just to hear that he did pass away over the weekend.
Well, one of the things that I think we sometimes miss is that with celebrities, a lot of times we think we know them and we know what's going on with them, but they still have their private life. And so, his front-facing attitude was very positive, but we don't know what it was like at night, at home, when he was we don't know those kinds of things. And, you think about Chadwick Boseman, we had no idea that he was so sick. And then, he died. And so terrible thing. Alex Trebek, this one guy in particular, a comedian, Harry Kondabolu, I'm blowing that name, said Alex Trebek was a member of everyone's family and his loss cuts across generations. R.I.P. Uncle Alex. I like that. That feels true to me. I grew up, I think we all went through that phase at some point where we watched Jeopardy with our grandparents, right? Mm-hmm. At least I did. So it's just disappointing.
So his show, I think they talked about there was enough episodes through Christmas time.
Okay.
So you'll still see him as host of Jeopardy, but that'll be until then.
All right.
And
Well,
then they haven't talked about, will someone else step in or what are they going to do? No one's brought any of that up yet.
Okay. What do you think? Do you replace Alex Trebek on Jeopardy? Eventually everybody gets replaced.
I'm sure they will, but they might not be talking about it publicly yet. Because obviously this is time to mourn him first. And but I'm sure and maybe even since he knew he was so sick, maybe he'd even been working with them on not only if he just couldn't have filmed for as long, if someone else was starting to, the talks of having a new host anyways.
I don't know. I guess we will see. But you know what? Our coffee is up to you, Alex Trebek. Seemed like a very nice guy and a great broadcaster for sure.
If you're looking for all the funny moments you missed during the riot, we apologize. You won't find them here. There weren't any. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Nikki, I've got bad news for you.
Ready to hear it.
So, it's not bad news. I just want you to get ready. It looks as though around our great nation, various retail grocery outlets are starting to put limits on things.
Grocery stores limiting what we can get.
Things like toilet paper.
Not again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. And for some items, really, they've never stopped since, the COVID at home orders and stuff. But they said with the election going in just to the winter time in general, with more sickness and more people probably having to quarantine, that we shouldn't be surprised to see that.
So what you're saying is a little bit extra. See, this is how it starts. Everybody in the United States buying a little extra is how this starts.
Yeah,
and
I
then
agree.
We're right back into the, oh my gosh, I have to go, but I don't have anything.
He's like, I don't have any toilet paper again. How did we get to this again?
It becomes another round of haves and have-nots.
Yeah, but you don't want to be the person who's been stockpiling this entire summer, but you just don't want to be the person without toilet paper. So I need to find a happy, middle ground in between the two.
Hey, In a land of no toilet paper, even single ply is king.
Yeah, he'll take whatever.
So just something for you to think about as you're...
Now, are they highlighting anything, or they don't want to highlight outside of toilet paper because perhaps then that causes more of a demand?
Well, here's what they said. Let's see. Toilet paper, paper towels, and disinfecting wipes. And so that would be Kroger in, I guess it just depends on where you shop. Giant, they're, I guess, in the Northeast, and HEB, which is in Texas. Mm-hmm. So these are retailers that are putting limits on your paper goods.
On more items. And you might not realize, like with Kroger, well, Kroger owns, Ralph's
Albertsons,
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So like you just don't know where you might go. There might be trouble locating some items.
Trouble in paradise.
As long as it doesn't hit the comfort food yet. Just want to make sure that section's okay.
Well, the good news is toilet paper will keep. So let's start the shortage again by stocking up now.
No, that's not what he's saying at all. No.
It's not?
No. Nope.
Start the shortage after Nikki stocks up.
Well, don't you want to get in first?
Yeah.
Remember that one day back in like March, we really couldn't find any?
Yes.
I don't want to feel that again.
How to survive the riot. Do the complete opposite of everything they say. You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
I'm going to tell you right now, like just up front, that a good discount, sometimes you got to work for it a little bit. Sometimes it's just as easy as I have a coupon, I go in and get the thing. But not all discounts are that easy to get. And so, first off, I'm going to need you to probably go to Wisconsin.
Is that going to be a problem for anybody?
What else do you have to do? Do you want this iPhone 12 or not?
Why do you got to go to Wisconsin for it?
Because, Nikki, in Wisconsin, they have two people that stole some iPhone 12s from the Best Buy.
So they're selling them now?
Which means they're undoubtedly looking to sell them. Now, I don't know where they are. You're going to have to do a little digging. The other thing I got concerned about was they says the total loss to Best Buy was $4,300, which means it's probably only two phones.
I was going to say, like, how many does that mean they took? It's like, wait a minute. What are they really worth?
It's one phone. Two, maybe.
No, you should be more upset if it's like, oh, yeah, it's 20 phones. You're like, we're getting overcharged. We are.
What is this?
That's not the insurance value. It's not what it's really worth.
Replacement value. There's a lot you need to talk to your insurance company about. But this is what you do. You head on over and get yourself a discount in Wisconsin on some iPhone 12s. Still new NIB, Nikki. Mm-hmm. New in box.
My favorite thing is if you ever go like sell a lot of stuff on Facebook Marketplace or even Craigslist back in the day, like you would know when someone had a stolen item because of the story they would craft around it.
There was always a story.
There was always this large story of like, why is it still unopened? Why is it this? Why is it that? And you're like, yeah, sure. It's a stolen item. You know it is.
Hey, where did you get this? My cousin Brad has been working at a shipping company for a long time.
Found one.
You know what? When things fall off the truck, they can't sell them. It's illegal to sell something if it falls off the truck.
That's right. And it's kind of built into why they don't, maybe get paid as much. They just get these items and then they can resell it. And again, a lot of stuff that is being sold is stolen.
That's pretty much where I got my first Oculus Rift, I think.
You think it was stolen?
Remember we talked, you're the one that said it was stolen. It didn't even occur to me because I'm sweet and innocent.
Aww.
And the guy, remember, it didn't have a box and I traded him a TV for it.
You guys just sound like you're just trading both stolen items.
I paid for that TV. Thank you.
I know, but it doesn't seem like it. To an outside person looking in at the transaction.
He was like, why do you want to get rid of the TV? Well, I was at Costco one day and they had an open box sale, so I was getting a really good deal. And
Again, if anybody ever gives you a bunch of stories, there's lies going on.
Well, but like I sold my Xbox over the weekend and the guy asked me why. And I was like, well, I'm just not really playing it. Is that a story?
No, because that was simple.
That was okay.
If it was like,
if there was a narrative.
Yeah, if it was a really long narrative, that's when they're lying to you.
So my mom told me that okay.
And if it's new in box.
Yeah.
Because normally it's not going to be new in box.
It was in box, but it wasn't new.
Oh, I see.
But I did have a box.
So in Wisconsin, they might have a few of the iPhone 12s if you're interested.
Yeah, or you know what? Nikki's getting a new iPhone this week.
I am. It'll probably be here Friday.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no story behind it.
Is it coming from Wisconsin?
No, it's
all
not.
of a sudden, some phones get stolen at Best Buy. Nikki is going to get a new phone.
No, I wanted the Pro Max. No one stole that one. Because that's not out yet.
They couldn't carry it.
They couldn't have it.
It's too big.
If you missed out on the next Riot moment when it originally aired, you don't know how lucky you are. You're listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
So Jurassic World Dominion has just finished filming. So like principal photography. That means they still have to do all the special effects and all of that stuff. But the cast and crew are now done with principal photography on the 6th Jurassic Park / World movie.
You forget that there's that many of them. But so they were filming in Pinewood Studios, which is in England. And it was the first major movie to resume production with the COVID stuff. So when lockdown first had happened,
yes,
they had to wait, and then they were the first ones to kind of go back in to start filming again. And even though the UK is now in its second lockdown, I believe some things that are still currently filming have an ability to still continue and not lock down again.
Yeah, I'm sure they got something,
deal.
whatever. Yeah. They say they performed over 40,000 COVID-19 tests on the cast and crew throughout the kind of back half of the filming process.
They would do temperature check-ins daily. Medical staff was always on hand. And out of the 40,000 COVID tests, they said they had about 100 that would be positive, but some of those were false positives. Like they're just not sure of the actual numbers.
It's one of those things that happens. Mm-hmm. False positives are out there. False negatives are out there, too.
They had signs around the studios while filming with reminding people about COVID rules. They had 150 hand sanitizer stations and then 60 sinks for hand washing. And after the end of every day, all community areas were fogged to help prevent the spread.
You know what's something I wonder about all of that is, do you think on this movie are any of the cast members, kissing mannequins like we saw with
with the soap opera stuff?
Yeah.
No, I think because they're all, they're all getting the same tests each day. So I'm not sure what the storyline is. I'm not sure if they're all kissing in this Jurassic movie.
I wonder if the dinosaurs are kissing.
So they had a positive case stopped last month. They're filming, but then they just resume when it's all figured out.
Okay. Well, you know what? I don't care. I thought the last Jurassic World movie was shockingly bad.
So he doesn't care then about this one.
I thought Jurassic World was good.
Yeah.
But the sequel, what was it called? Jurassic World Return to World?
I don't know.
I can't remember what it was called, but I thought it was terrible, which was a shame. I wanted it to be good, but no.
You just didn't
Fallen
like
Kingdom.
it. That's
Is that it?
Yeah,
Boom.
Fallen Kingdom.
I just had this image of Chris Pratt running from something on a poster, and I saw it.
So that is complete. They're all done. And again, people are talking about it because that was the first big movie to go back into production with COVID changes. I was reading over the weekend, The Witcher 2 is filming in England, and
yes,
that had to stop too from a positive. So there's lots of things that are currently filming. They just have to stop and then resume filming if someone tests positive.
Well, Henry Cavill's a very positive guy.
He is, isn't he?
He's a very positive guy.
So that's not the positive that they're talking about, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Things are never as bad as they seem, except when it comes to the riot. Then they're worse. They're always worse. It's The Riot on RadioU.
Holy crap.
I saw this on TikTok over the weekend, and I didn't know it was something more recent. I thought, maybe this was just a story from a while ago, but it happened. It was real.
Okay, so this is a helicopter flying from San Diego to Keck Hospital in East Los Angeles Friday afternoon. The helicopter was carrying a donor heart that was going to be transplanted. Then the helicopter goes to land on the helipad on the top of the roof. It crashes.
It fell onto its side. Thankfully, the pilot had minor injuries, and the other on board were unharmed. But it did crash on the rooftop when it was going to land.
So the firefighters on the scene used the jaws of life to rip open the helicopter and to get to the heart, which can still be transplanted. They hand this heart off to a medical worker who is holding it, who's carrying it, and then whoops! Trips, falls, and the heart goes flying.
You see it, actually. Now, I think it's wrapped up, but not like in a cooler or anything. It's just wrapped up in a sheet because they were taking it into the hospital, and the heart gets dropped, but it's okay. They say that the heart was not injured, and they were able to successfully transplant it.
Well, Nikki, the heart wants what the heart wants.
I know, but don't you feel so bad when you see the guy trip, and you're like, you're holding this heart that someone has been desperately...
Do you own that later? Do you tell people like, yeah, that was me? Or are you just like, we're just going to leave it at a hospital worker?
I bet you the hospital wouldn't have said a thing, except there was amateur video of all of it. And that's why, because the helicopter was crashing, so people were filming.
Here's the thing.
They wouldn't have said a thing about it.
People drop your food all the time, and they drop your organs all the time. You know what you do? 5-second rule. You just brush it off. You put it right on in there. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay, so do you actually think with medical laws and stuff, do they have to disclose that
they dropped the heart?
That the heart was dropped?
Well, you have to disclose stuff in real estate. You have to disclose stuff with the automobile sale. You're telling me that a heart is less secure?
They're saying the medical worker tripped over the helicopter debris. So it was stuff from the helicopter crash. And that's when the heart was dropped.
Yeah, which it's not a metaphor. Like, that's what I feel like one of these days we're going to do you feel like this? Like your heart's been through all this, and just when you thought you were okay, someone comes along and says that they're going to protect you and love you, and they just drop
the heart.
You. They just fling your heart out across the tarmac.
I feel like you should be told if your heart, like you could probably pinpoint if you were at the hospital and you were the one getting a transplant and that was the heart, like you would know eventually. So it's better if the hospital tells you.
Or is it one of those things where you're better off just not knowing? It's fine, you'll be fine. But if we tell you that we dropped your heart on the way to the operating room, now all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't feel so good.
I don't know. I bet you they're going to tell them, because if not, the media would find out somehow to tell them.
I'm sure it's fine. You just brush it off and just put it in.
Yeah, I guess, but it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch.
It really.
You're just like, no, you really just drop it. Don't.
I mean, it's one thing to drop, the glass or the whatever. This is a freaking heart.
Well, it's also hard to watch because, that was a scary helicopter crash, too. Thankfully, no one was severely injured, but they were transplanting the heart.
Wow.
Worst of the Riot podcast.
My neighbor, I live in a house.
Yeah.
You understand. I actually don't live in an apartment. I've got a house.
In a subdivision. So lots of houses near each other.
We're not like right on top of each other, but I'm not living in one of those subdivisions where people have these large fences for their horses, So like just somewhere in between there, right? And I'm sitting there last night in my basement, mind you, and I'm just like, what is that? My neighbor got a violin. And I start hearing...
First off, lovely violin. Very nice. Is this the one that was staring at you the other day?
Yeah.
Yeah, the same one.
Same house, probably a different person, I'm going to guess. Like, it's maybe his kid.
Maybe.
I don't know.
When Obi was mowing the other time, he just was watching Obi mow.
He just stood at the property line, mind you, and watched me mow for like half an hour.
It's kind of weird.
It was unnerving. I spoke to him 3 times, and he was just like, no, it's fine. And he just watched me mow.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Well, now you have a violin. Why can you hear a violin through houses?
How is that?
That's a powerful violin.
Is that an electric violin that's hooked up to an amp and they have a speaker in the window?
Maybe it's been nice weather in our area. Maybe they have the windows open.
Okay.
It could be that.
That
Makes
could
sense?
be it. You know, what you just said makes me feel a little bit better.
Did you have your windows open?
I don't even remember.
I bet you did.
Well, I was in the
that's
basement.
Why.
I didn't have the basement window open.
Listen,
the basement window. It's like a crack.
Lovely sounds travel far, okay?
Sure. Well, listen, I'm a supporter of the arts, and I think if my neighbor at whatever age has decided to study the violin, you know what I say? Awesome. That's awesome. Great.
Yeah, not if you heard it all the time, though.
Well, I mean, you know, there's going to be limits, I hope, but...
Then you have to be the ogre who's the neighbor, like, please stop with the violin. I can't stand the lovely noise.
The thing that I try to remember is that, just remember that a lot of people put up with a lot of really annoying things you did, and they did it, and you annoyed them, and they didn't say anything. And that's what I try to remember, is that when somebody is learning of this or doing of that, I try to remember that I, too, learned and did and sucked. And
you needed to have some time to learn the craft and be better. Let's see. We got a text that, consider this if you could hear it in your house. Think about how it sounds in their house.
Oh, yes.
Very loud.
I'm sure it's very nice.
And that means they can hear you if you're screaming in your house.
Well, it's funny you say that. I will tell you that one of the things I've done is I have actually set like a movie or something at a volume level that I enjoy it, and then walked outside to try to get an idea as to like what does it sound like
of you,
outside my house. And I've been surprised by just how little sound really does get out. Or maybe I'm wrong and I just don't hear so good.
You just can't. I think because you're in the basement, which means they're probably playing the violin. Not in the basement. They were up higher.
Yeah. All right.
And sound will travel.
Oh, it'll travel, Nikki.
Well, that's good. So you get a little violin every day.
Well, I'm thinking about maybe just taking it up myself.
So you can duel. No, you know what you need to do? This will make you look so bad. Go over and start yelling at him and be like, it's my nap time. Could you stop playing your violin?
Like, oh, he's got COVID. He's always napping.
He's always napping. Ever since then, he's exhausted.
That dude's always sleeping.
Is it healthy eating so many snacks, chips, and Oreos every single morning? No, of course not. But they do it for you.
Too many guys got the stomach for this line of work.
That's real love. It's The Riot on RadioU.
I'll tell you this. When you get COVID-19, people are afraid of you. And I get it. I get it. Now, Nikki, you've been good, but you've looked at me a couple times, and I've just been like, oh, she's scared of me.
Not scared, but you just are making sure you're okay. Like, it's different having you back. It's been such a long time. You'll make sure you're all right.
Well, I told Nikki, and I'm going to tell you guys, if all of a sudden I'm gone for a couple of days back in the basement, I'm completely serious when I say this. That's okay.
No, but I think you're past your time. So
I technically am.
You should be fine. It's the uncertainty that people don't know. They don't know how long is every person. Every person's symptoms are so different. Can you get it? Like, no one knows enough to be like, oh, great. Okay, just jump back in with it.
Which is why I'm saying that if you suddenly hear my voice sound a little different...
It put you back in?
They put me back in the box. And you know what? And I'm not just saying this. It's fine. I've told a couple of friends that like I saw yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, look, I will do whatever you want me to do. Like, just because the health department says I'm fine, if you're not comfortable, I'll be over here wearing a mask. I've got a plastic bag I put on my head.
Not that part.
I've got gloves for my hands.
That's fine.
Whatever it is you want me to do. And it's one of those things where like I get it because people are trying to be nice, but dude, I saw somebody at the store, which again, I'm supposed to be clear, and I'm at the store, and the look of abject horror on their face when they saw me come in the door, I was like, oh, well.
Because they knew?
I was like, I see that you're not comfortable with me being here, and that's okay. That's okay. I do have to get something, and then I'll leave right away.
I'm sure as more people, well, no, I hope not. I hope it's not just because not a lot of people have someone that they actually know who's had that. So it's just different for everybody.
I had so many people reach out to me and say, You're the first
one.
that I knew.
Now, we knew a few others before, you got sick, but not to where they were around us all the time.
Yeah. So, well, I'm serious. Like, if I need to go back in the hole, I'll go back in the hole. If,
what's your statement? The Lord willing.
Willing and the creek don't rise.
No, you're fine.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
So yesterday I finally decided, well, I guess it wasn't yesterday. It was Friday. I took the plunge and I bought Dirt 5.
You were thinking about it all last week and you assumed you'd like it. It's a racing game. You like racing games.
It is a racing game. It is out for the PC, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One. And this week, it will be released for the Xbox Series S, the Xbox Series X, and the PlayStation 5.
Take your pick.
So it's out there, guys.
You feel like it's saturated, the market, with so many consoles to play or so many variations of it?
There's a lot out there. There's a lot. Well, I'll tell you this about Dirt 5. Love it. I have absolutely loved it. Been having a blast. I do think that the AI can be rough in places. A lot of times if you'll watch a racing game, what happens is the first place target time a lot of times will not change. So let's say to win the race in first place, I've got to break 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay.
But there will be a wide variance between like first and 12th place. So I had one race in particular that I raced over and over and over again and managed to chop 15 seconds off my time. Still in last place.
Oh, so frustrating.
Oh, I had to
take a moment.
I had to take a break.
Take a walk.
I was
Can you
getting
change the
mad.
Is that like a setting you can change so it's not so difficult?
I didn't play around with it too much because the other thing is it really depends on the type of race, because in a lot of the races I was winning and doing very well, and then a race would come along, like a race type or a race whatever, where it was like I was just getting stomped on. And it's hard for me to know sometimes, like, no, sometimes you just accept the stomping and move on, or do you keep throwing yourself up against the wall trying to do better? And so I did a little bit of both, but it's really colorful and bright, and it is what they call an arcade racer, so it's not really heavy on simulation type stuff, but I have had a lot of fun with it. Like, it's the kind of game that I don't feel like I've had in a while where I kind of lost track of time. Yeah. Where it was just like, let's just do one more race. What if we raced one more time? Just one more? Let's just do one more.
That's good. You enjoyed it. I know you were going back and forth on it.
I did. And
is that one of the new pricing for the games? Or is, like, if you get one of the new consoles this week, those are the games that are $70?
Yes.
But
well, you know what? It just depends.
Does this count?
Some games are $70. I was looking at Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is the new Assassin's Creed game that'll be out on Xbox and PlayStation this week. And if, like, most places have it on sale for $50 instead of $60 or $70. But like Sony's Spider-Man Miles Morales that has like everything with it, $70.
$70, gotcha.
And so it just depends on what you're buying. I picked up Dirt 5 on PC for $35. It's one of the reasons why PC gaming can be good.
Because it's cheaper.
Sometimes, every once in a while, you'll hit something where you just can't find a deal. But I picked up Dirt 5 on Green Man Gaming, which is a discount site that's completely legitimate.
I was going to say, which country did you get this from?
And I think it was actually $37.99 is what I paid for it. And normally I even wait for stuff to get cheaper than that, but I think that's been worth it.
Well, again, it's been a while since you've had a big game.
Yeah, so that seems to be a lot of fun. I plan to do an Obadiah Plays with it this week if I can stay awake in the afternoon.
He still recuperates. He needs a nap time. Well, you can do an Obadiah Plays / nap time.
Right.
And then just fall asleep while you're playing and see if anybody notices.
If it's a short Obadiah Plays, you'll know that I had to nap.
No, though, you'll get huge numbers if people are trying to wake you up.
Are people really still listening to The Riot? You don't have work to do or laundry to fold or literally anything else to do? The Riot, Radio U.
Thanksgiving, Nikki, 2 weeks away.
It is? Oh, my gosh. That's actually to me just telling me that I got to put my Christmas decorations up soon.
So it's 2 weeks from Thursday.
It'll be here soon.
So what is that, 16 days, 17 days, something like that. Yeah, but it's coming up. And a lot of... It's hard to know, like, what it's going to be. I'll just tell you right now, as I had mentioned earlier in the show, when people see me because they know I've had COVID-19, I might as well come in with a gun. I mean, it's just like when people see you, they're like, oh, my gosh.
What's the unclean?
Unclean.
Why didn't you come ringing your bell when you were walking in?
And again, it's fine. Doesn't bother me. I totally get it. Whatever. But one of the things that's going on is I'm supposed to visit family in 2 weeks for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, some of them are like,
even though you're past your quarantine, they just, yeah.
I get it.
So are you thinking about it, or are you still going?
Still going.
Good.
I just don't know who's going to visit with me when I go there.
Well, you have your own table. Yeah. You're going to get your own table for sure.
Feel like a boy in a bubble.
I'm going to put you in your own special area.
It's fine. But a lot of schools are saying, hey, don't go home for Thanksgiving break. But in the case of SUNY, that would be the State University of New York, they're actually saying, hey, at Thanksgiving, we're done.
Most places are cutting it off by then. Yeah, that's why you're not, that's especially like if you look forward to spring break, you won't have a spring break, so you'll wrap up your classes earlier.
Yeah.
But that's why everybody was all complaining, because they said they need a break where you normally would have like Thanksgiving or
I get it.
holidays. And so you don't have that now because they just want to wrap up classes to send you home. They don't want you coming back from going home to potentially bring something back with you.
Right. So in their case, they're saying that they're going to do, I believe, 2 weeks of online classes that will follow Thanksgiving, and then you'll be done.
And then that wraps it up.
You know what? I will say this. College memories of coming back from Thanksgiving to Christmas, so fun. Like finals week, like
that's why they don't want the so fun to happen. That's exactly why.
I know.
That would be the fun time to not have in person.
I had so much fun during those weeks, and they're like, and enough fun, and no fun.
Stay home.
No fun.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're not the only school who will be implementing that, but or if not, they just don't want you to go home and you need to stay on campus.
Yeah. So, but in their case, they're doing that. So you'll want to check in with your, university about what's going on. Yeah. But
if not, I'm sure you would know by now. Hopefully they would tell you everything.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that where you are, But Nikki, I'm still planning on coming back after Thanksgiving, but I guess we'll see.
Oh no! Didn't
classes are canceled?
No. The Riot has the 2 weeks online of classes, and that'll wrap up before Christmas time. So you don't need to come back in then. It's fine.
Sounds great.
The Riot Podcast. RadioU.
Oh, wow.
What are you reading?
I'm reading up on donating plasma after you've had COVID-19.
Remember, you could be making so much money. Is it tempting? It's a lot of money. And you can donate, what were they saying? Because, this has been around different circles, but let's say you were in college and you would normally donate plasma, and you realized if you had COVID, you'd get paid, was it 2 or 3 times as much?
Mm-hmm.
So they were having COVID parties to just get COVID, so then afterwards you could donate the plasma to make more.
Okay, now does it make me a bad person? Because it wouldn't be a donation. I'd be selling.
No, you'd be. Well, you don't donate your plasma. You sell your plasma. So you could. It was a lot of money when you figured it out.
It's like over $100 a crack. I mean, in 4 easy visits, I could have that PlayStation,
If you come in and I'm noticing these signs that you're donating your plasma. You're so tired, though, right now, because Obi just got out of his COVID quarantine. Don't even add anything else to this, okay?
I will tell you,
you can't go do that.
I don't know if you can tell, but, I'm tired.
We can tell by the eyes.
It's fine. Like, I'm fine. It's fine. But man,
That's what you say when you're tired. You're like, everything's fine.
Hey, listen, you know what? It was our first day back, and my goals today were to get in here and do the show and
leave. That's it.
That's my goal.
That's all he's got.
I got a couple things I need to unload before I go. That's hashtag life goals right there. So, whatever. Well,
but
okay.
I wonder how long because you were saying you have the antibodies they at least know about for like 3 months.
Right.
So can you donate plasma?
Oh, man, I could have so much money. Like, the gaming economy could be booming. Booming!
I've never sold plasma, though. Does it make you tired?
I have no idea.
Are there any side effects to it?
Because technically, as I understand it, they pull your blood out, they separate it.
Yeah.
And then your blood cells go back in you, I think. But they say, like, when it goes back in you, it's cold.
Oh.
I know.
Don't do it.
I know.
I know it's tempting, but don't do it.
Oh, man. You know, Nikki, just a little something to help you.
Just a little hit.
just a little something. Just a little.
Oh, someone, here, let me grab. Sarah said, oh, mono's going around in our area, so maybe you have that. Sarah, Obi had COVID, so he is.
Yeah, no,
he's just done
else.
with that. He got out of his quarantine on Friday, and so with COVID, his biggest thing has been just being exhausted.
Mono, I haven't been kissing anybody.
Don't add anything to what Obi had.
Please don't.
Don't add anything more to that.
Jeff wants to know if I'm wearing my Scarlet C.
Did you bring it in?
I love that, dude. No, but I totally should. I should just have a big fat C on it. Or I'll be like the pastor guy in that book where I'm constantly clutching my heart. And then one day my coat opens and you'll see the big C.
It was there the entire
time. It was under my coat the
Yeah.
entire time. But no, haven't done that. That's really exciting. It's actually too hot where we are for me to put a coat on for a C. So I don't know.
So Scott texted, and the medicine they add to your returned blood caused my coworker to have a seizure from that.
Man, just forget it. I was looking for a handout, kind of. And just forget it.
A silver lining to what you've gone through the last few weeks.
Hey,
Is
I've
that
been
it?
sick for 100 years, but I'm making 150 extra bucks a week selling my plasma. That PlayStation's paid for.
Well, Lisa just texted in, going back off the mono comment, said I got mono from a water fountain. So obviously not recently, since most water fountains haven't been turned on in a while.
I got mono from a water fountain.
No one wants anything else. Don't text any other ideas. There's nothing else. Everything's fine. Everything's good.
I got mono from a water fountain. Oh, that sucks. I don't know where I got COVID. I will tell you, I've gotten that question a lot. Where did you get it?
Oh, people wanted to know if you could trace it back to something.
I don't know.
Well, again, you had a sinus infection. You've been so sick to where no one knows when one or the other because the symptoms were so similar.
It's been a great time. It's wonderful.
It's been a good fall, hasn't it?
Yeah.
This was the worst of the riots, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The Riot exists because RadioU exists, and RadioU only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.